Today we are here for an episode of Heart Brain Creative Podcast with Krystle Richards. Thank you so much for joining me.
Yeah, it's great to be here.
Today we're going to talk about like how you got started, kind of do the same thing I've done with other artists where we get to know a little bit more about you, how you got started, what kind of work you do. I mean, the alcohol ink is very interesting. Already learned so much about that, and then we might we'll just kind of touch on like what kind of shows you're going to be in.
Yeah, absolutely. So Krystle Richards, I have my art all under Krystle art. It's just a play on my name. My name is uniquely spelt, and it's just kind of all the different things I get into. I happen to leech on to different styles and techniques, and I'm like, I'm going to learn this. Let's try it. And so I don't have a particular style, so I just kind of dubbed it as like Krystle because I like all things.
Yeah.
I get sucked into new things too often and have too many hobbies. So
I totally get that.
yeah. So different shows I've been in. I've been at the Van Art Studio downtown. That's on Phillips. They participate every first Friday. They have like a showing down there that they support all the different local artists. And April has an amazing like group that she's got going on there. She's the owner that kind of puts it all together, and she's lovely. She's got a show coming up, and let's see, the last one I was at, I actually had donated a large piece for one of the fundraisers she has. So the last Fridays that she participated was back in May, and so the piece that we had there was all the pieces there were donated, raising money for and I feel bad, I forget exactly what it was, but it helps make these kits for women or children that are in maybe not great situations, and they're trying to get away, and these kits help better them in different situations, if it's like trafficking, if it's domestic violence or abuse and stuff like that. So a lot of artists, I think she had like 72 pieces donated. So,
oh my goodness, that's awesome.
So I was very excited to be part of that. And as we were talking, I do a lot of alcohol ink. I've done different types of mediums, but alcohol ink has been the newest one. And I don't know why I keep with it, because it's the most challenging thing I've ever worked with.
Oh, yeah.
And it will be very humbling where you're like, I'm giving up. I'm giving up. I can't control this. It hates me. The humidity hates me. And then you're like, what? Am I even an artist? Am I even, you have like, was it imposter syndrome? Like,
yes.
Where you like, am I any good? Like this thing, I don't know why I stick with alcohol ink, but when I have a piece that turns out, it's a beautiful and it's amazing, but I think I go through like 2 or 3 pieces where I'm like cussing it and flicking off my finger at it, and I was like, this is worthless, I hate you, I'm gonna go back to alcohol, or go to like acrylics and oils, because you can control those. Like where you put the ink is where it stays, with the paint, and that's where it stays. So that's where I'm at with that stuff.
It's such a unique process. You were telling me about it earlier, how quickly it dries.
Yes.
And that's what kind of makes it so difficult, in the humidity. And right now we're dealing with such humid weather,
Mm-hmm.
and the fact that you have to try to put together some pieces now. It'll be really interesting to see what comes out of this then.
If anything,
okay.
If anything, I've been in like the basement because I was like, oh, this is going to be the best place for me. And I'm just not, we'll see. I think like I have like a stretch where I'm like, I don't like any of this. I'm going to go back to drawing. I'm just going to draw. I can control that. So yeah, we'll see if I produce anything with this humidity that is worth salvaging.
You said you wear like a ventilator because it's so toxic.
It's very toxic. So I have to lay down alcohol, and the higher percentage the alcohol, the better. So when the pandemic hit, alcohol you couldn't find.
Oh yeah.
So
no kidding.
People are using Everclear, or like the highest grain alcohol you could consume and buy at liquor stores. I had bought like a decent amount of it, and what you can find at like Walmart is like 91%.
Yeah.
Maybe 93, I forget, but the higher the better, because you don't want any water in there, because that messes with the pigments that are in the dyes that I work with. So the alcohol flows, you add your pigments to it, which is also a liquid, and then you have to like manipulate it.
Have you ever worked with like lighter fluid before?
No. but I see people do that. And I was like,
I know.
I'm the type of person that would burn off my bangs. Or I would become, like, I'd have to sport bangs because, like, a chunk of my hair stuck out.
When I worked for a company and we needed to clean stuff and we needed it to dry really fast, I would wipe and that's what it reminds me of, because you talk about how fast it just dries. But that's what makes those cool, like, kind of translucent, if I'm thinking of the right word, kind of like,
Yeah. No, I know.
colors.
I know the people that work with it, some do the flame treating, and you can do that if you're working on a tile or a glass or a metal.
Yeah.
The synthetic paper, you're going to warp it.
Oh, sure. Like, do you actually, like, would set it on fire then, kind of thing?
Well, so what you'd see is the plastic starting to twist, which could be really cool.
Yeah.
But so no, I haven't done that on any of that. I'm just patient. I just let it dry. But
so cool though, and they're so colorful and they're so pretty.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's the great thing about them. They're so pigmatic that's kind of what drew me to that, is like the vibrant colors that you get when you mix them, and they flow and they start to like marry each other, and then they like make a whole different color, and then you get different hues and contrast. Like the piece I showed you earlier was made with 3 colors only.
Really?
Yeah, just 3.
I wouldn't have guessed that.
No,
That's
I know.
Cool.
So
yeah, and you guys will have to see it at the show then. So, well, I really appreciate you going over all this. I know it's just kind of a quick get to know you and your stuff. So the Bazaar show will be August 20, and that way you'll get to see her there. Van Art Studio.
Yeah.
I think you have some stuff there too.
Yeah.
Or will be.
Hopefully, yeah. Normally I'll have like alcohol cups there. I shouldn't say alcohol cups. Cups. Coffee mugs with alcohol art on there. Yeah. There should be like a little corner display that little nook fit just really well with those type of things, that maybe displaying someone's artwork didn't fit in that area, but just things. Hopefully these things would fit right there.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for coming on. We'll get to see your stuff at that show, August 20th at Sunny's. Thank you so much for coming on, and appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you.
No problem.